Erwin, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Sreeram, welcome.
Thank you, Michael.
So for my audience, I like to give them some context. Could you give us a brief history of the Port of Rotterdam, and more importantly, what's the core mission of the Port of Rotterdam Authority?
So the Port of Rotterdam goes back to the, I think, 14th century. And so we literally lived through the Industrial Revolution. You know, we lived through all the wars possible and known in Europe, and we grew. Since ever. And this mission is to accomplish a sustainable growth within the Port of Rotterdam with all our partners and stakeholders.
And you work for the Port of Rotterdam Authority?
Yes.
What is their mission? Is it to secure, to maintain it? Is it a private corporation?
Yeah. We privatized in 2004. Before that, we were all governmental, but we privatized in 2004. And our mission, our two focal strategic points at this stage, is to get the energy transition, to play a leading part in the energy transition, to be example for all the industries within the port and take a leading role in that. And the other strategic focal point we have these days is the digitization, the digital transformation.
So, not to get into the weeds of numbers, but could you give us a sense of, for our audience, how big is the port?
If you sail with a boat from the most western point of the port to the most eastern point of the port, it will take you 6 hours to get there. Oh. So it's more than 40 kilometers long in size, and that's huge. Even for the size of Holland, which is a very small country, as you know, and you are aware of. So if you go to an airport, and another explanation of the magnitude of the port, if you go to an airport, you see these dots of lights, every 2-minute interval of planes coming in at LAX, for example. Well, every 6 minutes, a vessel is coming into the port or leaving the port. So it's very big. It's the biggest port of Europe, actually.
What goes on in a port? And what I'm getting at is, could you describe sort of the ecosystem, the port's ecosystem, how it works? What are the key components and core processes that make up or define the work that takes place at the Port of Rotterdam?
Yeah. So before answering that, you have to know we are quite a mixed port, so to speak. So we have a lot of petrochemical industry. We have a lot of container business, and what you see in ports around the world is that they have a specialization, and we have it all: dry bulk, wet bulk, cars, foods, name it, and we will have a cluster of it. So we are organized in a geographical way in clusters. So we have a cluster of petrochemical industry and refineries, container terminals, more inland. We go to the dry bulk area, etc. It's the core mission of the port is to get sea ships in and out. So, if you go back to the dictionary and you look up a port, it's just a berthing place for ships. So we build all the infrastructure to have these big vessels coming in, to have them to give them a safe port passage and a safe berthing place, and all the operations that are going on, like the maintenance of the refineries or the operations of the container terminals. That's all the business of our tenants. So we are a landlord port. We lease the land and we lease the water, so to speak, and we maintain the infrastructure and we maintain the water depth with dredging process. But all the operations of the maintenance of the terminals where the goods are loaded on and off the ships, all that is our tenants' businesses.
So Erwin, what's the source of competitive advantage now for a port like the Port of Rotterdam? Because this business is changing, constantly changing.
Yeah. Well, from a historical point, we are a river port. So the River Maas, which is and the Rhine, which are two of the biggest rivers on the European continent, on the western side, they go into the sea at Rotterdam. So we have a strategic advantage, so to speak, to have a great connection with the hinterland, with water, with the rivers. That's one thing. At the other end, we have very deep waters.
This has been a special edition of the Business of Government Hour, the SPADE interview series. My guest was Erwin Rademaker, Program Manager with the Port of Rotterdam Authority. My co-host was Sreeram Visvanathan, IBM Global Managing Director for Government, Healthcare, and the Life Sciences. For the Business of Government Hour, I'm Michael Keegan, and thanks for joining us.